Hello, welcome to another episode of Montana Shares. This is Bill Crane, your host, and I have Jane with Montana Child Care Referral and Resource and Referral Network. It's a long name, I always have to work at it. Let's see, welcome to the show, Jane.
Thank you, Bill. I'm very happy to be here.
So last time we kind of talked about all the immediate needs that are going on with COVID. This time, let's talk a little bit longer term about some of the issues that have been here before COVID and probably will be here after COVID, and hopefully some of the solutions that are involved with that and your roles in those solutions. So we were sort of talking off camera about the child care desert. Tell us about what that is, what that means. It's a great phrase.
So yeah, Montana is considered a child care desert, which means that we only have at or less than 35% capacity to meet the demand. And so the demand way outreaches the capacity.
So just so I can understand that, you're saying basically there's 3 times more demand than there is capacity.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's definitely.
And it varies in very different areas. It's a little bit less, I'm going to use Gallatin, and it's a little bit, Helena is one of those counties, Lewis and Clark, that actually is about 50, which doesn't sound great, but it's better.
Better, yeah. Okay. And what the other big problem is sort of like people spend a pile of money on childcare, and it's probably something they really can't even hardly afford to do. So let's talk about that problem before we get to the solutions.
Absolutely. So there, it is. I think parents are struggling with the cost of care. And we are advocating on a regular basis, both with our state legislature and nationally, to have some kind of support, national support for childcare. It could come in the form of scholarships for parents. Right now, the scholarship fee scale is 150% of poverty. We are advocating for it to be 185 or 200% of poverty, which would include many more parents who have a fairly low wage, yet still need to work and need assistance with childcare. And the other method where we could support childcare is really to support providers and to have some kind of incentive program that rewards them for quality and the investment they make in their own facility.
That's right. You mentioned people are paying often 40 to 45%, is that right, of their income just to cover childcare?
Depending on their income, they could be.
Okay.
Yes. The federal standard is 7%. I mean, Montana is way. I would say more commonly than 40, that's the high end. I would say it's more like 30, 28, 30%. That is still a huge amount of their percentage of their incomes.
Depending on our areas, we have a lot of people who are paying a vast percentage of their income for just their rent. So you add those two things together, it's sometimes hard to find the food and the gas and those other aspects.
Exactly, and it's just hard to get by.
Okay.
And you know, our workforce, there are job openings. And you know, our hope is, you know, I don't know, I think they say about 12% of women are unable to work because they can't afford the child care. That 12% can make a huge difference within our workforce. And I don't know what the percentage is for men, but you know, it's not just women who are responsible for care of their children. And so we would really give a big boost to the workforce if we could help make the child care piece affordable.
Okay, and so legislation is sort of what you talk about as one solution, but there is sort of this other economic possibility, which is basically creating more in-home childcare situations. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So childcare comes in 3 categories. One is family, group, and then the third one is centers. Both family and group can be facilitated outside of someone's home, which makes it much more affordable with the cost of business and facility. In-home care is a great option for many families and many people who are interested in childcare as a career. And so if you watch, one person with up to 6 children is considered a family. That 7 to 12 must have 2 people, but it is then a group. Both of those could be held inside someone's home, which is a great option. And really very conducive to children. Many children do great in a smaller setting rather than a bigger center.
I mean, so many segments are doing really well during COVID, which like home improvement is doing great, and recreation and RV sales, those are through the ceiling. But I think there's things like restaurants in particular probably have cut back a lot, and there's hotels. Those situations have laid off people. So we do have unemployment. So this would be an option if people were really thinking about a long-term career. They could be taking care of this in their homes.
And absolutely. And our agency is called Child Care Connections. Child Care Connections, or any one of the other 7 child care resource and referral agencies throughout the state. That's an important piece of the work we do, is to help individuals interested in doing care to start up. One piece is we have mini grants available, and they're up to $3,000. And for in-home care, that can really be a nice boost to help them get going. We also have staff. We call it a new provider specialist, who will work with you on licensing, on curriculum, on what your environment needs to look like, and they will spend significant time helping with that startup process. And so we have certainly have lots of help to help individuals interested in becoming a child care provider.
Time, money, and expertise are all great things to be offering.
Yes.
So we should probably be talking about a website so people know how to get a hold of you for these valuable resources. What's your best website?
Our website is cccmontana.org, and on our website, on the homepage, we do list all the CCR&Rs throughout the state and have a link for each of them.
Okay.
And so they could access any of them through our website.
Perfect. Well, I think, when we talk about problems, it's also great to talk about solutions. And I think you've kind of nailed it. There are some solutions to these problems.
We're really struggling with early care right now in Montana, but it is solvable.
Okay. Well, great. Is there anything else that we should be talking about as far as sort of these? I really like this topic because it was here before COVID. It'll be here after COVID unless we do something about it.
Exactly.
But now's the time to do it.
And there's lots of examples throughout the state of communities that have actually come together and talked about it within their community and say, what are we going to do? What works for our communities? And those have been very successful. So even if you're not interested in starting your own facility, there are people in your communities, be a champion. And there are businesses and individuals within communities that have really lit that fire that got it going.
Mm-hmm. I think I was on a vacation recently and we're traveling through some of the smaller to middle-sized towns in Montana. There's a lot of empty buildings in a lot of those places. And so as we look at what Main Street should be looking like, some of that third tier of care that you were talking about, maybe that's a good use for some of these spaces.
And especially, there's been some real success out there on employer-supported childcare, whether they subsidize it, but many have started having their space within their work facility. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they have those people are employees of that business, but sometimes they just pay someone to come in and do a facility because they have a space. Mm-hmm. And that's also been very successful in many places.
Okay. Well, thank you for the work you're doing on, this issue that Montanans have faced before and during and after COVID. So I'm glad that you're working on solutions.
And, and we can do this. We just need to pull together.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Bill.